is Saurabh, and you're listening to my favorite talk show, The Weekly Show with Aditya.
This is episode 453 on this beautiful Wednesday morning on the 8th of December 2021. The Hockey Asian Champions Trophy has started. Well, the men's tournament starts a week from today, but the women's tournament has already started. But there is no conversation around it. Why? Because it's a women's tournament, and despite all the talk about women empowerment and this and that and all the conversations, all those conversations are absolute sham. And it's a shame that this tournament is not being broadcasted, notwithstanding the imaginary virus concerns which are cropping up again because people and a few pseudo scientists have nothing better to do. So when they feel bored, when they feel that they are not getting the attention, they come up with some or the other situation where they have to put the world under scare, and the scare tactic works because people are gullible, will be gullible no matter if you're educated or if you're intelligent. Such things will always put the entire world on notice. But more on that later, because a few sensitive individuals will be hurt because they also have nothing better to do than being hurt by such things. But it's a shame that the women's tournament is not being broadcasted for whatever reasons, but most important, the reasons are commercial. Neither of the two major broadcasters in India feel that this tournament has enough return on investment, that they spend a fortune on commentators and the production part and everything else that broadcasters normally spend money on. It will not get them anything back, and it's a shame. And even the men's tournament, which starts a week from today, there is no guarantee that even that tournament will be broadcasted. No clue has been given. The International Hockey Federation website, the Hockey India website, and normal websites, which usually give an idea as to whether this tournament will be broadcasted either on the digital networks or the analog networks. None of them are clear because there is no clarity from any broadcaster. There is no conversation around this particular tournament. Well, because it doesn't have the hype of the Olympics, it doesn't have the semi hype of the Junior World Cup. And remember, the Junior World Cup, the league matches were not broadcasted, but the knockout games, that is the semi-finals, were broadcasted, or even the quarterfinals were broadcasted, but I never saw them. So I don't know if they were, but I presume they were. But it seemed like compulsion only because India made it to the semi-finals and before that quarterfinals. So as I said, it doesn't bring out that kind of a thing. First of all, let me tell you, cricket has no emotions. It only brings in the money because everyone wants to give cricketing analogy for every small thing. Everything is like T20 cricket or economies like Test cricket. That's the only analogy that so-called experts give, and that's why a certain sport is more popular than other sports, and that's what is unimpressive about this whole discussion. But that's the way things are, and nothing can be done about it. So yes, if the Hockey Asian Champions Trophy, that is the women's division, is broadcasted, the men's division is broadcasted, I will definitely watch and discuss every match, at least the matches involving India and then other countries. It may not have the hype of an Olympics or a Commonwealth game or an Asian game, but it's a hockey only tournament and it's important. But as I said, in hockey, it doesn't matter what tournament you play because you play with the same style, you have the same plans. The tournament is non specific, but that's our obsession with certain sports and our cavalier like attitude towards other sports. But we'll talk more about this once this tournament starts, and hopefully, the broadcasters have more than commerce in their minds when they decide to broadcast this. Because if they can broadcast the English football tournament, which doesn't have any interest. I don't even know Manchester United plays which or Everton plays who. It doesn't interest me. These matches start at anyways at 1 a.m. Indian time, and I'm not going to wake up at 1 a.m. Indian time to watch all that tournament. So I'm not bothered even about the 2022 football qualifiers. Whichever team makes it to the Football World Cup, good. If somebody misses out, even if a team like France misses out, so be it. And that's the nature of things, and that's how it should be. We'll talk more about this later on, and let's presume that the men's division will be broadcasted. Let's move on to something more interesting. As you know, the most hyped cricket tournament, though a private tournament between two countries, that is the Ashes. And the reason for the Ashes, it's bizarre, it's ridiculous, but let's not go there. It's a colonial touch as well. And this is the team that was chosen by both the teams. But I think what Australia did in making Patrick Cummins the captain after the regular captain was embroiled in some controversy, which I don't think should affect a player's career. But let's not get into that. What Patrick Cummins has achieved has is something that not even the hyped people like McGrath and Vaughan and Gillespie and Brett Lee and people before that could not do. And anyways, I never liked Shane Vaughan or McGrath. They were those people who could not contribute. They were lazy fielders. Their batting was well -1 on 10. But if you look at this team, everyone from 1 to 11 is a good bowler, except for Warner and Harris, and of course the wicketkeeper Carey. Labuschagne, Smith, Green, Cummins, Hazelwood, Lyon, Stark, good bowlers, but you will never see Labuschagne and Smith bowl because it affects your shoulder. And number 3 and number 4 are top batters. And then you have all-rounders in Travis Head and Cameron Green, who will not get all the overs, but he will bowl enough to give time to Cummins, Hazelwood, Lyon and Stark to do the job. And that's very good.
It's 10 hours.
What Patrick Cummins has done or has achieved, and it's not a big deal for him to become the captain after what happened with the regular captain. But why can't India do something similar? If you're looking at future captains, who is the guy after Kohli, or if they feel that Kohli has done enough, there is one guy I would want to make captain. Not a batter, but I would risk it and make someone like Jasprit Bumrah the captain going forward. And I'm absolutely fine with that. But that's a risk Indian Cricket Board doesn't want to take. We'll talk about the Indian Ashes, that is the South Africa Indian Ashes, but let's just understand what's happening with the score. So England are 9 for 144 with Patrick Cummins with 4 wickets and other 5 wickets shared by Hazelwood, Stark, and the all-rounder Cameron Green, who was brought into the team last year against India and did well with the bat. Now he's proven himself with the ball, which means someone like Mitchell Marsh, who was the player of the tournament in the 20 over World Cup, may not be considered as an all-rounder as far as the test match is concerned. So Australia are 9 for 144 at Brisbane or Gabba or whatever, where India chased 330 runs to win, which shows that England's batting has not lived up to the hype and the expectation of what it should be. Though they have a very good team, I don't mind a team like Hamid and Burns and Malan and Root and Stokes who returns after a brief break. It's nothing new. I mean, the whole thing around Stokes taking a break for whatever reasons, the reasons notwithstanding, I don't think it's a big deal. Yes, he took a few months off. Everyone does it. There's nothing wrong in taking a few months off. And then you have Butler and Pope and Vokes and others. But now the interesting thing is they had, as far as the wicket keeper is concerned, they had to choose between Bairstow and Butler, who are good white ball players but not good enough red ball players. As I said last time, they should have done what India did with Rohit Sharma, risked him, asked him to open, and it worked. They could have had Hamid and Bairstow opening and then Butler as the keeper. Pope is a decent batter. And look at the team. No Broad, no Anderson. We praised Broad and Anderson in the India-England Ashes a few months ago. Wow, the greatest bowler in the world. This, that. But what happens? The very commentators who praise him are not here. No England commentator has come to Australia because of obvious reasons. You only have Australian commentators, so there will be an element of bias and all those things that happen. But that's the nature of these situations, and that's funny enough. So we all praise Broad and Anderson. Broad and Anderson, one is close to 40 years old, the other one is 36 years old or will be 36 in a few weeks' time. And that's the interesting part of this whole debate. As Wood fended a bouncer and it went straight into the hands of the short leg fielder, it finally worked as Cummins steams into Jack Leach, who drives down the ground, and they will only get 1 run. So England are 9 for 145. Can England do what India did in the fourth match? India were 190 all out. They only considered a lead of 90 against England, and then they scored 460 runs in the second innings and went on to win the match by defending 370. Is that a possibility? Well, the Australian openers are good, but no Broad and no Anderson at the same time. That is something they will be haunted by, because Mark Wood is someone who's a good bowler but is prone to injuries. And that's one thing that will affect them, which means Ben Stokes, who returns after an injury. Of course, we have this Stokes Pandya thing. The Indian selectors, or the incompetent, and well, there are no words for me, selectors don't think a certain Hardik Pandya is good enough to play cricket anymore because of his injury and his injury miscommunication with the team management and between the captain, coach, and everyone else. We'll get into that soon. But I would have wanted Hardik Pandya to go to South Africa, but he says he's not good enough to go. He will miss out on some the 50 over domestic tournament, which one doesn't even know why is it played if it doesn't get the hype. But that's the way it is. So he's taking a break. But for me, Hardik Pandya has to be in my team going forward. If he is not there, then you fire the current group of selectors and throw them in the trash can. They don't deserve to be there because we have the most incompetent fluid group of selectors right now. I don't even know who they are, whether they played, whether they contributed in any manner. Because you make me the selector, I choose the team. I'll have at least 30 people ready, 20 to go, 10 on backup, and that's the way it will be. Whatever the rules are. And that's the way things should be. But that's the way things are. England are 9 for 147 after 49.2 overs as Lyon bowls to Leach, the spinner. So it's interesting who will open the bowling. You might see Robinson and Chris Wokes open the bowling, and then Ben Stokes and Mark Wood will come into the picture later on. But Mark Wood and injuries are something which go hand in hand. So England will have to be very careful as to how they manage someone like Mark Wood, who will bowl at 150, may bowl 4 overs, may get tired, whatever is the logic surrounding Mark Wood, but they have gone with him. That's the way such things are. As Lyon bowls the fifth ball of the 50th over to Jack Leach, who defends, as Lyon is 1 wicket away from 400 wickets. If he does that, I've seen Shane Warne bowl. I've seen a couple of other spinners come and go. And while Shane Warne is always Shane Warne, Shane Warne, Shane Warne, I think Nathan Lyon is a better contributor. I mean, if I wanted a team, I would not have McGrath and Lee and Gillespie and Kasrovitz and such players whose contribution is 0.1%. Even the likes of Ponting, maybe I would, but Hayden Gilchrist, the most hyped group. Well, Gilchrist was decent, but then he was all fluke, and there was no brawn. There was no brain, all brawn. There was nothing you could think. Yes, we hyped them, and then of course we only hyped them because other teams were not good enough. And now because England are 9 for 147, so you might see this team being hyped. But I have seen Cummins bowl, I have seen Bretley bowl, I have seen McGrath bowl, I have seen his. You can compare them, but they are better. For a while, I didn't watch because of certain reasons which are not important on this broadcast right now. As Cummins bowls, the catch is taken, and Patrick Cummins, in his first match as a captain, gets his fifth wicket, and England have been bowled out for 147 inside 50 overs, which means Australia have at least 2.5 hours to bat, and they will take tea right now because it's almost tea time over there. Australia have bowled out England for 147. So let's move on our discussion. So the India South Africa Ashes starts in 2 weeks' time, in just under 2 weeks' time, 26 December, as always, the Boxing Day hype is there. So what would be my team? Now the rumors are Gill and Akshar Patel and Ravindra Jadeja may not make it into the team. They are injured, which is stunning, but whatever the reasons are. So who will make it? Which means Ashwin plays as the spinner. So Ashwin will have to play. So what would be my team? Well, people can be critical of Rahane and Pujara. They get another life and this and that, and that's absolute nonsense. Because I've seen I've seen the individuals we hype about have even worse performances. I can give you examples, but I'm not going there because I don't even want to give them any kind of importance. So my team for the first match against South Africa in the India-South Africa Ashes, which starts 2 weeks from today. I don't know what the team will be, but I presume some players may not make it. Gill is injured, which is sad because he is one of the top persons coming in. It's sad that Gill is injured. They don't think Prithvi Shaw is good enough. I don't know how do they exactly have this differentiation, who can play red ball, who can play white ball, when the selectors then themselves even don't know what it is to play the game. They played one match and they may have played some domestic match against bowlers whom I could smash six sixes every day in my sleep with one hand tied behind my back. That's the kind of opposition they had. So it doesn't count for anything in my book. But my team would be Rahul, Rohit, Kohli. I wouldn't mind Kohli coming at number three, and I don't care about this number three, number four conundrum or this middle order muddle or this middle order murder. I don't really care. So a choice between Pujara, Iyer, and Rahane, that is for 4 and 5. You would have somewhere between Gill is out, forget him. Pant comes back, perfect. I don't even want Saha anywhere near. I would have KS Bharat in even an Ishan Kishan coming in as if they need an extra player. I would have Ishan Kishan instead of Ridhiman Saha. I don't care if he did well in India because he doesn't have the thing to do well if you have to accelerate. Who would I rather have? Would I have Pant make 40 of 65 or would I rather have Saha make 40 of 125? You know who would I have. And when I say I want this, the whole world listens. So my team is Rahul, Rohit. They have to play because we are hyped around them. So Rohit has maximum 3-4 years left. And Kohli going in as the captain, well, let's go with it. He's a decent captain. And though I would want Bumrah as the captain going further, I wouldn't mind doing something extraordinary and doing all those things. So Rahul, Rohit, Kohli, Pujara, a choice between Iyer and Rahane. Both of them are good. Pant at 6, and then you go with 4 fast bowlers and a spinner. And of course, Jadeja not being there, Shardul Thakur gets more responsibility as the all-rounder with no Hardik Pandya and no other all-rounder being groomed, which is a shame. So Thakur is my fast bowling all-rounder, Ashwin is my spinning all-rounder, and Shami, Siraj and Bumrah in the same vein as Cummins, Hazelwood and Stark. Of course, Ishan Sharma misses out, but he's also in that injury list, but he will travel with them. That's the news. But this is my team. Of course, you can forget the slash because those Gill and Jadeja may not make it because of injuries and whatever other reasons, which is baffling, but that's how it is. As far as South Africa is concerned, they have a decent captain in Dean Elgar as the captain. Markram, an up and coming, one of the top batters. And then RVD, Rassie, Van Dussen. And number 3, Bamua. And number 4, Quinton de Kock, the best keeper in terms of coming from South Africa. Of course, Pant and QTK. And then Kyle Verreynne as one of the all-rounders. Mulder as the all-rounder, Keshav Maharaj, Ngiti, Rabada and Andra Nokia. So a good team for both sides. So that South Africa have selected a 21-player team, which means somebody will miss out. But the first 5 will be the same. Expect somewhere between Kyle, Verreynne and someone else to add. And they will also go with 3 fast bowlers, 1 spinner and 1 all-rounder as is done by any other team. Only England can boast that they have, even England have gone with 3 fast bowlers. The Vokes and Stokes come in the all-rounder category along with Leach and Stokes as the all-rounder, Vokes as the semi-all-rounder and Wood and Robinson as the proper fast bowlers and Jack Leach as the spinner. And that's the way it should be. So Thakur,
It's
Ashwin,
10:15.
Shami, Siraj, Bumrah as the team and as the top team with no Gill, no Jadeja. That's the team they would want to go with, and that's the team I'll be absolutely fine with. So that's my team. So I have no idea what those incompetent selectors have in mind. So let's see what happens. For now, England 147 all out. Australia have around 35, 36 overs so bad because we can never complete 90 overs. It never happens because we have talked so much about over rates. I think the umpires are to blame for over rates because they also play a part when they allow unnecessary drinks break when not needed, and we cannot put the blame on the players for going with a lot of fast bowlers and not spinners, because that's the way it is. You would never go with three fast bowlers in India. Otherwise, it's a well, you know what it is, and that's the way things are. So that's my team. Kohli at three, Kohli at four, irrelevant between Pujara, Iyer, and Rahane. Someone to fill that 3, 4, 5 position. Who were then of course Hanuma Vihari also a part of this debate. Who should play? Who should not play? What should be the contribution? Pant as a wicket keeper, through and throughout. There are no questions about that. Well, Rahul, Rohit, Kohli, Pujara. Then a choice between Iyer, Rahane and Hanuma Vihari for number 5. Pant at 6 forever. Thakur at 7 as the all-rounder. Ashwin as the spin bowling all-rounder. And Shami, Siraj and Bumrah as the fast bowlers. And South Africa, we can debate around that for a long time who should be there. But Elgar, Makram, Avedi, Bavuma, QDK, Mulder, Maharaj, Ngidi, Rabada, Nokia will make it to the team, and there will be a choice at number 6 for an all-rounder or someone else. We'll see as to what happens. There's even a Dwayne Olivier who has come back after playing a couple of months in English domestic tournaments. So let's see what happens. But that's all the discussion for the Ashes, the India South Africa Ashes, and the maltreatment to hockey, especially to the women's division. Let's take a short break. So this ends episode number 453 on the 8th of December 2021. Stay tuned for the next episode.
For more awesome content, tune in to the next episode of the weekly show with
And I will be back on the 10th of December with episode number 454 around 10 a.m. between 10 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. IST. Till then, add these books in your must-read books column. I repeat once again, add these books in your must-read books column.